Thanks for tuning in to At a Scope, where we talk about business, sports, and marketing. I'm Brian Cristiano, CEO of BOLD Worldwide, and this is episode number 52, where I have Kyle. What's up, Kyle?
How you doing, Brian?
On the show for the first time ever. We drink tequila, we talk business problems and solutions. Check it out.
Sports marketing expert Brian Cristiano.
Brian Cristiano.
Sports fans are arguably the most passionate people probably on the face of this planet.
Marketers and advertisers and brands always have to keep in mind, you have to play to the state of your audience.
If you're not passionate, do something else. It's the end of the week, it's Friday, it's Black Friday, and I'm here with me today, Kyle, my Director of Sports Marketing. What's up, man?
How you doing, man? Happy to be here. I've seen enough of the episodes. It's different to be on this side of the couch.
Yeah, well, welcome to the episode.
Happy to be here.
I'm looking forward to doing this, continuously on Fridays with you.
Absolutely.
And especially drinking a little bit tequila on a Friday.
That's the part I'm looking forward to the most. Yeah.
Me too, I think. Me
absolutely.
too. Well, awesome, man. Just to kind of give people a little bit of mini backstory into who you are. You came from the traditional publishing side of media. You're now over at BOLD on the agency side. You've been here for almost a year. You're also a super athlete, ultra marathoner, run 100 miles. You're crazy, out of your mind. You also cycle. Well, it's kind of late, but welcome aboard. But B, being here for a year on the agency side, what's something that you've noticed different from the publishing and traditional side?
Yeah, you know what? I think the biggest difference I've noticed is coming from especially the traditional side, you are given this group of assets that your media company owns, and that's what you have to work with. So your creativity is limited to what you're able to execute on based off the assets that you as a media company own. Versus when you go over to the agency side, obviously you're now looking at the market as a whole. New platforms are rising, new digital whatever platforms may be coming up. So you're able to look at every marketing execution, not in terms of how can I get more creative within these 6 or 7 assets, but how do I look at the market as a whole and execute on newer platforms that may have recently come up or highly engaging, and you're able to shift strategies, obviously, to more engaging, more successful platforms, newer versions.
So you like having access to the whole market and not just specific items.
Yeah, I mean, that's the obvious difference and change, and I would say benefit, right? Because as trends come up, you can follow those trends, especially when they would otherwise be leaving the platform capabilities of a traditional company's assets.
Mm-hmm. Right, which is what we're definitely seeing. Obviously, people are, the eyeballs are moving, and we want to get ahead of that and do things that are efficient and prove good ROIs.
Yeah, you have to move to where the eyeballs are shifting, and you have to do so before the rest of the market gets there. It's a continual hurdle, and that's certainly one of the variations from going from sort of a traditional media company to the agencies, staying on top of those shifts, staying on top of those transformations within various marketing platforms.
Getting ahead of the trend, man.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
Exactly.
So one of the things I want to do each one of these episodes, I want to keep it real. I want to talk about not only our insights, but really something that either a client specifically is struggling with, had a challenge with, or something that they overcame, or even some business thing that we overcame ourselves at BOLD during this week. So we kind of wrap it up and give some real, actual, actionable insight. Anything that you noticed with ourselves or with a client this week that is worth bringing up?
Yeah, pick a day.
Every day.
No, seriously, I would say one of the bigger hurdles that I've noticed that has come up this week is, look, we were in the process of onboarding a new client this week. They obviously had a North American headquarter as well as a European headquarter. So one of the things we noticed as we're onboarding them was the fact that the European headquarter wanted, I'm going to say, very granular control into the campaign setup, down to the design of every asset, specifically down to as granular as figuring out to the quarter and eighth of an inch where certain logos and verbalization sets needed to be placed on each asset. So extreme level of control as one section of that brand overseeing another section of the brand. So you can see where it got very complicated in finalizing each set of assets that we were going to execute across of within each platform. It was a very slow moving process.
So it's one of those things where, especially right now, where we're talking about holiday marketing and getting to market quickly and moving fast, especially a lot of digital assets, social assets, having a company that has multiple layers of approval instead of maybe, let's say, putting a single individual in charge of making the final decision, not just obviously allowing the agency to do their job, but having somebody on the client side that has the final say, that's working directly with our team? Is that, kind of the solution
absolutely.
working on?
Especially when you're talking about getting something launched in a timely manner.
Right.
You can't have it where you need to have 5 different head nods to launch one asset. You need to assign one person from the marketing team to take charge, to understand how the platform works, to know your brand, and be trusted that you can execute well across whatever the platform is that you've been assigned to, in order to execute in a timely manner. Especially when holidays are here, especially when there is a new platform and you want to make sure you're getting into it properly. You put a certain amount of trust in the agency, but you also make sure somebody's taking lead.
Yeah.
So you're not pushing things through 7 different approval processes.
And I'm sure that anybody that's either on the brand side or the agency side or even freelancers can associate with this, because I think this is not the first and last time that this has happened. And I understand it to an extent where obviously, a global marketing team wants to have control of their brand. But on the other side, do you think that this is kind of a cause of the traditional mindset, which is like go back 5, 10, 15 years, where it would take you 3 months to launch a campaign or 6 months to launch a campaign, whereas now we're down to like days and weeks to launch a campaign? Do you think it's that like hard shift in a mindset?
Yeah, I think so. I think companies are used to having everything be transparent across multiple properties, whether it be print or television or social or digital, and they want everything to look the exact same. The voice needs to be the exact same. The appeal needs to be the exact same.
Right.
But the fault is in not realizing that each consumer set reacts differently to marketing messages entirely across multiple platforms. The way I react to a video ad is completely differently than the way I react to a social ad, and the way I'm going to engage with it changes as well. So little shifts are necessary, and you can't always hold steady with that exact brand voice down to a T across every single asset you execute across. If you do so, you're going to lose that attention.
You need to, and I think that that's a big lesson where marketers in general just need to understand there needs to be flexibility, and the brand needs to have its core identity, but there needs to be flexibility based on where the ads are going and what platforms, whether it could be traditional media. It's different from a print ad to a social ad to a video ad or whatever it might be. There needs to be that flexibility, and the content or the ad or the design or the message needs to be native to the platform.
Absolutely.
Let's jump ahead real quick, and you were telling me earlier about like some interesting social stuff. What's something that you picked up on this week that we can kind of chat on here for a bit?
Yeah, true story. So obviously I was down south last week, meeting with a couple of different partners of ours, talking to a few new partners about a few new technologies. Coming back, obviously in the taxi cab, they have these little video clippets trying to entertain you in your 5 to 50-minute taxi ride or however long that is. One of the video clips was from a local news station where the reporter on the video clip essentially said, like, hey, Hunger Games was recently released in New York City. It's doing very well. That was where the movie's premiere was, apparently. And we're excited. We're excited to see this movie go out so well and get such a great public reception. Let me know if you like this movie when you go to see it, and if you don't like it, let me know too. And that hit me as odd because
on
obviously,
Twitter, right?
Yeah, on Twitter. He wanted people to tweet at him as handle if they liked it, or if they didn't like it, to also tweet at him and let him know if they didn't like it. And to me, that hit me as extremely odd because obviously this reporter is trying to be very social and integrate social media into the broadcasting. But from a consumer standpoint, why do I care about remembering some random reporter's Twitter handle just that I can say, oh yeah, I liked it, or oh, I didn't like it.
Right.
It's not, there's no call to action there.
Right, and I think that's part of a bigger picture, which is a lot of the more traditional media, broadcasters especially, they know they need to be involved in social media. They should have been involved 6 or 7 years ago, but even now, they're still trying to figure it out and saying like, oh, use this hashtag or tweet at us or whatever. But you're right, there's no like, in theory, yeah, they're doing a good thing and they're trying, but it's a matter of like taking a stance and having a reason and a purpose for a conversation in that space. You don't just say like, for example, don't just say like, oh, tweet at me if you liked it or didn't like it. Say, hey, I really love this movie, or I really hated this movie. If you think otherwise, you see this, tell me why, and we'll have a discussion about it on, such and such a time or whatever, or we'll just talk about it live. And I think that's the disconnect, because you were showing me as well, like there were a couple people who kind of got engaged, but there was no reaction to that engagement. So you're tweeting to nobody, and who cares? It's about social media, whether it's
Yeah.
Twitter or anything else, it's about the real engagement from real people. So it's about having that connection and giving them a reason to connect.
Yeah, exactly. It's one thing just to say you're doing this and to say, oh, tweet at me. But I think if you were to follow his Twitter handle, I would be surprised if a single person called out the Hunger Games and then tweeted at his handle to say, hey, I just watched it, I loved it. Or,
Yeah.
hey, I just watched it, I actually didn't like it.
Yeah,
And
nobody, it's not
even
powerful.
so, what's he going to say in response, even at that point?
Yeah.
There's no conversation. He didn't start a
It's
conversation.
a conversation. That's what social is. Let's
Yeah.
jump ahead and let's try to keep this one
Absolutely.
quick. Give me a hypothetical marketing scenario. You were mentioning something to me earlier.
Yeah, so obviously down south, one of the assets we were talking about a lot was 360 video. It's huge, it's engaging, not a lot of marketers are aware of the benefits of 360 yet, and it's starting to come up. Consumers are beginning to gain awareness. But something that I've been getting specifically in talking to multiple companies and multiple marketers at these companies is, okay, so I'm going to produce this 360 video, but I don't understand how that fits in with my marketing execution. How does this 360 video fit in with my marketing strategy?
Right. And it's really interesting because it's kind of the same question of 12, 14 years ago when I was running 24 DP, a production company, we would have a lot of scenarios where oh, here's a budget, make this awesome video. And then the client, before we're an agency, the client would just put this video on their website. How come nobody's watching it? Well, because nobody knows that this video is on your website. You can't just create content and then never tell anyone about it. And I think it's no different from that to 360 video. 360 video is awesome. It has its followers, it has people, it's creating interest, and a lot of people still don't know about it. You've got to tell people that whatever this video is, that it exists. Like if you're XYZ brand and you create this really badass 360 video that's super cool, okay, that's awesome. But if nobody knows about it, nobody's gonna see it and nobody cares. So that's part of it is the conversation doesn't start and end at what is this creative piece? It's why are we doing this creative piece? And then how are we telling the world about it? And I think I've seen this over and over again with especially video, whether it be broadcast TV commercials or like this now 360 video, where it's oh, let's create an awesome video. It doesn't stop there. You then have to promote that video. It's part of the marketing. So it's not how does 360 video tell the rest of my marketing? No, this becomes your marketing. You need to drive eyeballs and engagement to it. And hopefully the content is great, whatever that might be. But that's the goal. Drive people towards it. All right, cool, man. Well, look. Let's jump right into it. I've got some Don Julio 1942. Have you ever had it?
I've never had it. I've been eyeballing it the whole entire time. Yeah.
It's a solid añejo. I love it. It's good stuff. One of my favorites. And why not, man? It's Friday. We're gonna have a little tequila.
It's been a great half day here.
Yeah, it's good. It's
Awesome.
Let's check it out, man.
Thank you, sir.
Well, salud.
To the weekend.
Yeah, to
Awesome.
Black Friday.
Yeah. Smooth.
It's smooth.
Very
It's good
smooth.
stuff. You like it?
I love
Honestly?
it. Yeah, seriously, not that much kick.
No, it's
Very
good, man.
smooth.
It's super smooth. I love it. Well, it's cool, man. We'll try to have a different one here every Friday. Taste it out. If anybody
you
out
to
there likes Don Julio, let us know.
Yeah.
Or if you got a good suggestion on tequila, let us know. And
Recipes.
we didn't have any leftover turkey at BOLD from Thanksgiving, but I got this really cold turkey wrap from Pret. You want some?
If that's the same wrap that's been sitting in the fridge for 3 days, I don't want any part of it. We'll let it sit right there.
That's probably a smart call. Well, Kyle, man, thanks for coming on the show, and thanks
Absolutely.
everybody for watching.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks so much for tuning in to episode 52. I hope you enjoyed it as much as Kyle and I did, and it's always really good when you get some solid tequila. If you like the episode, please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, share, and comment, because the more people that watch the show, the better it's going to get. Make sure to tune in on Monday when I talk about my passion, product, and performance for the week, and then another really solid interview on Wednesday.